Hi and welcome to my soul tribe. My name is Miriam Rose. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe, set your bell on all, like, comment and share, as I really appreciate all of your support. Now let's get on with the video. My dearest brothers and sisters, this is Tunia speaking. I love you so very much. Like broccoli, this message may not taste very well for everyone, but hopefully it is healthy. We are just sharing our perspective. You are of course completely free to disagree with us. Overall, I think that Earth light workers are doing great. Furthermore, our perspectives are also the same on a whole lot of important topics. On manifesting and keeping your vibration high. Some spiritual people think that if they just focus their conscious mind enough on something, for example via visualization, then they can manifest anything they desire. Yes, you can manifest things. However, your conscious mind, subconscious mind, emotions and soul all have a say in what you manifest. If these things are all aligned, you will have great manifesting powers. However, if for example your soul doesn't want you to be in a relationship right now, then you probably won't be able to manifest a partner, no matter how many visualizations you do. This is one of the reasons why we regularly suggest that you talk to your soul and ask it what it would like to do. If you want to manifest something, then regularly think about it and take practical action in that direction. Observing your thoughts and emotions will help your subconscious heal, which in turn will help you manifest more things you want and less things you don't want. If you really want to manifest, for example, a partner, then you can even, for example, think, I want to experience my pain and anxiety and fear surrounding relationships, and then observe whatever comes up without suppressing or trying to change anything. This may help clean up your subconscious and emotions in the area of relationships, which may help you attract a partner. Although if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Thoughts will come up over time, bit by bit. You will have the opportunity to heal them anyway. And also, your soul still has a say in whether you manifest a relationship. Furthermore, the situation on Earth is determined by more than just one person. If you travel by car across a road that is always clogged and jammed at a certain time of the day, then good luck trying to consistently manifest a smooth car ride. Probably you will not be consistently able to do it, because other people also exist and also make choices and also have an impact on the world. Another thing to be aware of is that people who like the Earth idea of manifesting often talk about the importance of keeping your vibration high, which is the idea that if you look at happy things, then you will feel good and in turn manifest good things in your life. Whereas if you look at sad or painful things, then you will feel bad and thus manifest bad things in your life. And hence you should look at happy things and not at sad or painful things. First of all, this again pretends that your rational mind and emotions are the only ones doing the manifesting, which is not true. Your subconscious and your soul have a say in that too. Second, we would describe this as limiting your awareness to a happy bubble. Some people even describe that as retreating inside a narcissistic bubble. We have stated that while this can be a valid survival mechanism, it is not a state of great spiritual attainment. After all, suppose you are in great pain and need help. How would you feel if someone else, who might have the money or emotional capacity to help you, instead excludes you from their awareness and retreats in their own happy bubble? 2. Note that Joshua or Jesus spent time with the lepers and helped them, which is the opposite of keeping his vibration high. 3. This leads to spiritual misconceptions, such as the ones we have been discussing in this message. After all, if you choose to only observe happy things, then you will probably start developing opinions that don't make sense to people who look at all of reality, which yes, includes people who just get their metaphorical heart ripped out and never recover from the emotional trauma, just because someone else wanted to make another million or have a bit more power or control. Furthermore, suppose we Pleiadians told you that some of our babies are starving every day, but we would rather focus on keeping our vibration high and going on holidays to tropical locations instead of practically helping those starving babies. You would probably think we were evil or possibly crazy, right? Well, similarly, we think it is a good idea for Earth humans to take as long as they need to heal and stabilize their own life first. And it's completely fine to take many years for that and not really help anyone else during that time. But once you have your own metaphorical air mask on, we would like to gently invite you to start helping other people in whatever way fits you best. You don't need to literally help starving children, but it is good to contribute your piece of the puzzle to humanity, whatever your piece of the puzzle may be. About being sovereign, many of you are not free at the moment due to restrictions from society and government and the money matrix you're trapped in. Over the last few years in particular, governments have tried to force people to do things or not do certain other things. So it makes sense that the concept of being sovereign really appeals to many of you. And indeed, you deserve freedom. In the future, you will gain your freedom. Still, we would like to invite you to be aware of what the word sovereign actually means. Someone who is sovereign is someone who has supreme power or authority in their sphere. Indeed, most people use the word a sovereign to refer to a king or queen who indeed has supreme authority in his or her kingdom and who can, for example, execute people on a whim. A sovereign is someone who can make laws that other people are forced to follow, but does not have to follow the laws of anyone else. Is that actually what you want? Or would you prefer freedom and voluntary associations and community instead? If you are sovereign, then you have supreme power or authority in your sphere. So then there are two options. Number one, you are sovereign and there are other people in your sphere and you have power over them. Number two, you are sovereign and there is no one else in your sphere. Personally, I wouldn't want either of these options. I don't want to rule over other people, and I also don't want to be in an individual bubble of just myself. Instead, I want freedom and voluntary associations, but also a community of equals around me. Personally, I don't want sovereignty. I want freedom and voluntary associations and community. I don't want to be a kingdom of one. I want to be in a happy and healthy and free community. We understand that you may want to have a word that describes that you do not think the government has the right to tell you what to do. That makes perfect sense to us, especially considering how governments have been behaving lately. For this, however, to use a word that more or less indicates that you are a king or queen. Instead, you could say that you are a voluntarist. Voluntarism is a philosophy that centers around voluntary participation in society and voluntary interactions between people. We like that calling yourself a voluntarist doesn't just indicate a claim of personal freedom and a rejection of a coercive government, but it also implicitly means that you do wish to participate in society and you do wish to interact with people just on a voluntary basis. Also, if you say that you are a voluntarist, then that suggests that you want a society where everyone is free. In contrast, the person who says he or she wants to be sovereign often thinks in the direction of, I claim sovereignty for myself. Now, how can I become financially independent myself? How can I make sure that I personally do not get bothered too much by the government? This touches on the idea of people retreating into their personal happy bubbles, which we discussed already. You are not an island. Even if you want a homestead, you still need tools and items that were made by other humans. We have debunked the idea previously that you can just manifest everything you want purely via your rational mind and emotions. Furthermore, you are connected to every other Earth human via the collective subconscious. In fact, you are literally that starving beggar on the street. He is you and you are him. It is only a layer of illusion that makes it so that many Earth humans perceive themselves as being separate from other Earth humans. It would be more accurate to think of all of Earth humans as one being, with the individual Earth human being a tiny body part of that greater whole. And so, thinking you are separate from other humans would be like your toe thinking it is separate from the heart. We wouldn't say that the concept of being sovereign is inherently bad, but that concept sure seems a lot easier to hijack for the ego than the concept of voluntarism. There are energies attached to the word sovereign, of hyper-individualism and of ruling over others and of being separate from others and of not really actively going out of your way to help other people. Yes, being sovereign has some good elements and energies attached to it too, but in our mind, most of those elements are also covered by the word voluntarism and freedom. As previously mentioned, things that feel emotionally really good are not necessarily the very best or most helpful things for you. For example, some things feel good because your ego likes them. Yes, I know that many of you feel scared and perhaps oppressed, and like half the world has either gone mad or fallen into a coma karma, and therefore I completely get that the idea of being sovereign feels safe and powerful, but the words being sovereign also carry with it the energies of either ruling over others or being separate from others or being in a kingdom for one. Is that what you want? Suppose some of your colleagues or family members or friends declared themselves to be sovereign. Would that make you feel good, or would that make you feel concerned or possibly excluded? Ultimately, it is of course up to you if you want to say you are sovereign or if you want to say you are a voluntarist or neither. Pleiadian political views. Voluntarism is often associated with being liberal. If people are curious about the political views of the average Pleiadian, then here they are, although of course Earth humans are free to develop their own views. We usually think that people should be free to do as they wish, so long as they are not directly harming others. We have courts and acknowledge their right to determine what is and isn't direct harm. Everything that needs to be done is done because people volunteer their time, and we have automated all simple chores. We don't force people to serve the community, but we do raise our children with the knowledge that if no one decides to serve the community and no one does unpleasant tasks, then the community crumbles. So in practice, nearly everyone who is able to volunteers some of their time to the community. If people refuse to contribute or behave in ways that are not directly harmful but are unpleasant or inconvenient for others, then usually we just politely inform them how we are feeling about that. If that doesn't work, we sit them down and ask how they are doing and if we can help them with anything. Still, we don't force them to comply or contribute. So from one perspective, we are pretty liberal. Everyone is free to do as they wish, so long as they don't directly harm another. We don't really have a government. The closest thing to government we have are courts and respected thought leaders and military commanders. In rare circumstances, we will hold a binding psychic referendum. Wiser people are generally more psychically powerful, which also means that their vote has a heavier weight for the purposes of referendums, although everyone's vote counts to some extent. For example, we held a referendum about whether we wanted to send a fleet to help Earth or not. We did. Yes, we are part of the Galactic Confederation, and yes, Source did request our help, but still, the choice was ultimately ours to join the Earth Assistance Fleet or Earth Support Fleet or not. We are not ruled by Galactic Confederation bureaucrats. Our participation in the Galactic Confederation is voluntary. We freely choose to help you. Contrary to Earth liberation, however, we do not allow people to purchase means of production or something similar to that. Indeed, we don't even have money. We just help others as needed or desired, and they do the same for us. We have no desire to own means of production because we know that we can just ask for anything and it will be given to us. So in that sense, we are simultaneously communist in that good way. We have no authoritarian government that forces people to share, but we share nonetheless. And this is possible because we have a high enough level of consciousness and enough love for each other. Hence we think that increasing the level of consciousness even further and learning to love more unconditionally would be critical steps for Earth humans. The economic left versus right wing debates are also made much easier for us because we live in a post-scarcity society. Once humanity reaches a high enough level of consciousness, then you will very soon be in a post-scarcity society too. For example, free energy technology and replicator-like technology already exist. It's just a matter of humanity increasing their level of consciousness a bit more. Narratives versus truth. Nowadays, some people think that maintaining certain narratives is more important than truth. For example, doctors and scientists have been censored and deplatformed because they made truthful or expert opinion statements about the pandemic or about the injections which are involved with the pandemic. This illustrates that some people care more about narratives than about the truth. As another example, if you say something positive and also objective truthful about Russia or about Putin, or something negative and also objectively truthful about Ukraine, then in many cases you will get censored. Conversely, negative things about Russia are published constantly, even if they have no actual proof backing them up, or if they can be proven false with some basic research or basic logic. Some people care more about pushing an anti-Russia narrative than they care about truth. Now, it is sort of understandable that some people think that certain things or people, a certain medical condition or Putin are so dangerous that we must push certain narratives that oppose those things or people, and also we must censor information that runs counter to that narrative, even if truthful, because after all, people are passing. However, this is a dangerous development, because once people accept this pattern that narratives are more important than truth, you can bet that the media and governments will take that and run with it. Do you want to live in a world where governments and international organizations determine what civilians should and shouldn't do and think, and then work with mainstream media to push narratives to achieve those agendas, while censoring truthful information that runs counter to those narratives, all for the supposed safety of people? Because that is where Earth already is to an extent, and there Earth would be heading even more strongly if there was not this great awakening going on, if the energies weren't rising day by day, and if light workers and us galactics weren't there. Fortunately, your actual medium-term future is very bright. In general, we think that you should let people form their own opinions and take their own actions, unless those actions directly harm another. And people expressing so-called harmful opinions or political views on the internet is not direct harm in our eyes. It is generally not good for humankind if you try to push people to take correct actions or have correct opinions. Similarly, it is also not helpful to keep trying to wake a person up if that person has clearly indicated that they are not interested in your views on a certain topic. We do acknowledge that social media, as it currently exists on Earth, is problematic. So much so, in fact, that the vast majority of people would be happier if they weren't on social media. That said, censoring people who express so-called bad opinions through social media or telling them that they are bad people because they have those opinions is not the answer. Similarly, some people are prioritizing narratives over actual real-life people. For example, think of a group that claims to be pro-women, but then when a woman disagrees with them, they want that woman to be censored or deplatformed. Or think of a group that claims to be pro-black people, but then when a black person expresses a right-wing opinion or plans to vote right-wing, then they no longer treat that person with respect. That kind of narratives over actual real-life people for the supposed greater good approach can very easily do more harm than good. Some people have this fantasy that if they just censor the so-called harmful opinions enough, or if they just tell enough people that they are bad for having certain opinions, then eventually everyone will be reunited with the right opinion. However, at the most, this can only work temporarily. If a population is strongly divided on a certain topic, then the only lasting way to heal the division of the people is to have full and free discourse and research, without censorship and without telling people they are bad for having certain opinions. After all, what you resist persists. The only lasting way to heal a rift is through love, and yes, as was said previously, this also means, for example, letting racists speak and letting racists make their arguments. If you want to solve the problem of racism on a fundamental level, then let the racists speak and let them make their arguments, and give them as much love and understanding as you can, even if you disagree with them. That is the only way to fundamentally solve the problem of racism. Thank you for listening to our perspective on these matters. If you disagree, you are invited to share your comments in the comment section below. We are genuinely curious. I leave you today with my unconditional love and with a lot of regard and respect for how well light workers are doing there on Earth. Tunia. Well, I hope you enjoyed this channeling, and if you enjoy deep dives, then please visit my other channel called Miriam Rose. With absolute gratitude, love and light, cosmic kisses to everyone. Till next time, bye for now.